Andrew, do you know who Chase Young is?
Yeah, of course.
No. My point is, I don't either.
Before I said that Cade Cunningham would never be an All-Star, and I just wanted to double down on that.
Oh,
I just.
We're back
What's going
with
on
another.
with Mike's video?
I know.
Wild card weekend just finished. We got some quite a few moves in the NFL coaching world, and the divisional round is up. Let's go. No, I almost forgot to unmute myself. I can't hear myself on the mic. What up, Jam Pack? I'm MK, I'm your host. I'm here with John M83, Tesla Mace, and Uncle Drew. What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing?
Hey, how we
Doing
doing?
all right.
Really
No.
good.
I'm doing all right, I guess. Funko Factory was cracking. Hey, as much as I want to go down this recap, do I really want to listen to Uncle Drew brag for this week? All right. Let's run down these games. Saturday, the Chargers fell to the Texans 32-12, and the Ravens end up coming out 28-14 over the Steelers. In the Sunday games, Bills won 31-7. Eagles get the win over the Packers 22-10. Commanders get the squeak by with a doink for the win. Right? Then that last one made this loud sound, man. What in the world? Doinked it in for the win, 23-20. And then tonight's game, Rams easily manhandle the Vikings, 27-9. Biggest surprise game this weekend, fellas. What do you guys think that is? Mike?
Has to be Washington. Rookie quarterback going on the road, winning. I think it was a little bit of Baker and the Bucks kind of hurting themselves, to be honest. But they really didn't have a good game. They had no running game at all. Passing game was decent. I was a little surprised that the Bucks didn't score a little bit more. But that's got to be the surprise right there. That fumble really hurt them. Defense stopped them on 4th and goal. Andrew's getting situated. Feels like I'm in a tornado. You'd give the ball right back to him after a key first down by Mike Evans. I mean, just pure effort and literally next play, just bad timing on the little wide receiver running through the back, and McMillan hit the ball, and it cost him the game. I mean, and then the defense came back and even stopped on the 4th and goal again. And like I said, Jaden Daniels did not look that great, to be honest, but he led his team on the road to a victory in the playoffs. So, well done to him and his team.
John, biggest surprise this weekend?
All right. Well, Mike took mine, so I will take the Rams and Vikings. I really thought the Vikings were going to win, but I thought they'd at least keep it close. And I heard something about Vikings being frauds or something like that. So I will say that Mike, Mr. Tesla Mace is holding true to it, because the Rams played so well on offense and defense, and the Vikings just had no answer. And I felt like the Vikings were trying to basically counter everything that the Rams were doing, but just at a slower pace. And it just didn't seem like it was working for them. And they had no answer for the Rams.
Drew?
Well, I think the biggest surprise is that I wasn't surprised at all about any of this. So got all my picks were right. So, but just to comment on the Commanders, I did think Jalen Daniels, he was kind of throwing short a lot of times, underthrowing people, hitting their feet, and some of them seemed like very like.
Go Rams.
There we go Rams. I know, Darnold, poor Darnold.
I think it was 9. I think it was 9 sacks. They got one more at the end, so I actually think they got 9 sacks. That's incredible.
That Commanders game, as soon as they scored that touchdown, I knew they had that one. And then when they held them to a field goal, the Commanders players were literally celebrating. Like, I could see them celebrating, like, because they knew they were going to get that 3 points and win 23-20. We all saw it. As soon as that field goal, I was like, oh, okay, Commanders are winning this 23-20, and the game's over. Nice try, Bucks, and we were moving on. So Jane Daniels hit a couple good plays, though, enough to get them to win. So kudos to him, man.
That's all you need. You just need enough.
First playoff game.
I have two surprises this weekend. Number one, did not expect Herbert to completely crap the toilet with 4 interceptions. That was wild. Did not expect that, especially in a Harbaugh type offense.
Agreed.
That was a little unexpected. And then number 2 surprise for me was that the Ravens decided to run the ball in the playoffs. No way. How does this work? What? We run the ball? Come on, man. Now, if they stick to this formula, it'd be great. Like 50 attempts for, what was it? Just under 300 yards rushing?
Yep.
It's wild. Absolutely wild. I mean, you looked at that first half of that game, and the Steelers just had no answer for their run game. They held up pretty nice on the pass game, but man, had absolutely no answer for the run game.
Derrick Henry averaged 7.6 yards a run. It's ridiculous.
What was it? It was Henry's like 45-yard touchdown, and they showed the replay, and Lamar had attracted so much attention that he actually attracted 3 defenders with no blockers, like nobody blocking them. All 3 of them slid out to the outside, leaving this wide lane right down the middle for Henry to have literally just a wide open lane. I'm like, whoa, that's not how that's supposed to happen. But you end up missing 1 tackle, and Lamar's pretty good at that, making at least the first guy, if not the first 2 guys, miss.
He had 81 yards himself, so it's tough. When they're running on you that much, it's tough to know what to do, I'm sure, on that defense.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the quarterback is the unaccounted for guy on defense. Any defensive coordinator will tell you that. Nobody accounts for the running quarterback. That's why the option is always lethal in college. That's why a lot more teams are trying to go to more mobile quarterbacks. It's because in most cases, defenses just don't have an answer for it. We can't account for it, if that makes sense. Yep. He's the plus
even
one
on that
offense always.
Even on that Washington last drive, so Andrew, I guess, had a different take than me. I didn't feel like they were going to come down and win the game. But the play that did win it for him was Washington had 2 spies on that 3rd and 6 play in the 4th quarter with like 3 minutes left. And I mean, you take two linebackers out of coverage and put them as spies on the quarterback, and that made their receiver open to get the big play to lead to that ultimate field goal. So yeah, I mean, just the threat of him being able to run definitely changed the defensive scheme on that. So
and he had a few really good runs in the end of that game. So
Key runs. Yeah, he had a couple key runs. I think he got that.
Yeah.
He broke a tackle, got that key first down at the end for the field goal. Yeah, like I said, I didn't feel like he played that great. I just, I thought the team played great. The defense played much better than I thought they would. They just couldn't run the ball. Bucks did a really good job stopping that run. And it's unfortunate that they lost because I actually think the Bucks are the better team personally. I think they have the better offense. It just didn't show up on Sunday. So, real quick, I have a couple hot takes about Minnesota. So number one, Sam Darnold. I feel like last week he cost himself about $20 million a year by crap in the bed, as Mike says, versus the Vikings. And I feel like he cost himself maybe even a starting job at
You
this
mean the
point
Lions?
Lions, the Lions.
versus the Lions. I mean, yeah, I mean, national televised game, you win it, the division, you get, first round bye, you're guaranteed to get to week 2, and he had his worst performance of the year. And then today, on top of that, he 9 sacks. I mean, that just can't happen. And I don't care how many times you throw the ball away. There was a play in the game where Stafford is getting sacked, going down, and throws the ball like this, and they called it a fumble for a touchdown the other way. They reviewed it and said not only was it not a fumble, it wasn't even intentional groundings because I think Puka Nakua was nearby, and and it's like, does Darnold not know how to throw the ball away? I mean, you cannot take 9 sacks, and he
He
may have cost
holds the
himself a
ball for
starting job.
so long. He holds the ball for
Yeah.
so long. Crazy how long he holds that ball.
Absolutely. It's way too long. And then, I mean, I'm sorry, you got the best receiver in the game with 52 yards or 58 yards at halftime. How does he end the second half with 58 yards when you're down 21 points? And not only that, he gets 2 targets. I mean, just ridiculous. Like I'm sorry. And then no huddle at the end of the game. I mean, still huddling up with about 7 minutes left. I get it. You're down 18 points, but let's run a little bit of offense. Let's not, go for QB sneaks on 4th and 1 and even take time to huddle up afterwards. Like, call 2 plays, get in there, snap the ball and throw it. Like, just terrible, terrible performance by a team that got lucky this season, game after game, that teams did not scheme for because it was just the Vikings, and we all knew who they were, and when they got to the playoffs, even Andrew, who was on the Viking bandwagon all year, picked against them this week. So, I mean, 14-3 means absolutely nothing because if I was the Vikings right now, I would rather be the New York Giants drafting at the top of the first round as opposed to the Vikings in a very difficult position, and he will not be the starting quarterback next year. There, I know we talked about last week. I think he cost himself the job. If it is, it's on a discount because I just don't see many teams paying him at this point. I mean, he too many flaws the last 2 weeks in super key situations. How do you build around your organization around a quarterback like that?
Interesting take.
I'll compound on that too, and just say how frustrating it was to see him, underthrow or he just was so inaccurate. The touchdown to Hawkinson, if you guys saw, Hawkinson had to reach back to grab the ball.
Yeah.
And then hope that he didn't get, because I mean, you're taking your eyes off of what's in front of you to go reach out for that ball. Hope he didn't get crushed, as he turns around. He ended up finding some daylight, but missed Aaron Jones for a couple of easy passes. I just very disappointing to watch. And I do agree with you. I don't think he's starting caliber. Like, you got to win some of these games that are going to be tough. And, he could beat the easy teams. Don't get me wrong, but struggled. Let the Rams beat him twice. That's rough.
Let's move on to the divisional round picks. So let's see. We got the Chiefs versus Texans. And any big surprises there? Anybody going Texans?
Andrew is.
Andrew.
I actually picked the Chiefs already, guys.
Oh my gosh! Talks up the team the whole year. I mean, is this the guy's just making picks based on spreads? I guess he's talked up Houston, he talked up Vikings, and went against them. You can't be wrong, no matter which way we choose.
Guys, you understand that I'm 100% this week, right? So let's
Yeah,
calm
by
down.
going against the teams that you chose, that's awesome.
Well,
all
here's
year.
Here's the thing, though. The Rams beat them already. They're playing, in Arizona. That's actually, I thought that was actually a positive. Last week you said that was a negative. I'm like, shoot, these guys have been playing their hearts out with all the fires going on in LA, coming to represent. I think it was a motivation, man. They played really well. They've beat them twice now, so it was just a smart pick. So thank you for congratulating me on the smart pick.
So we're all we're all unanimous on this. Chiefs over Texans. Yeah, no argument.
Yeah.
Nobody. Anybody in
Yeah.
the comments or that's watching right now? Let us know who you'd pick. This next game I think is going to be the game of the week for sure. Bills Ravens, man, the two MVP candidates, Josh Allen versus Lamar. Is this going to be it? Winner gets the. I know it's not supposed to be a postseason, and it's only a regular season award. But who you guys taking?
Our
taking
bracket that we chose is locked, right? Just making sure. 'Cause I'm looking at it right now, and I just want to make sure it's locked for
No,
everyone.
I'm
Or you
I'm
got
pretty
it?
sure the brackets are adjustable. I mean, with the picks that you already made, like if you made a losing pick already and you didn't have that team advance, you can't make
I
an
think
extra
they're
pick
locked.
this week.
So it is locked. Yeah, you can't change it. Okay. I'm
But
just
it's
making
about
sure.
how many points you get as you move on in the rounds. So I'm kind of
Okay.
nervous. I might have a perfect bracket, guys. We'll see what happens.
Oh my gosh!
This,
Oh wait, doesn't Michael need like McDonald's or something? Or didn't we say Fleming's for
Chili's. It
McDonald's
was
or Chili's?
Chili.
Chili's.
Oh, give me my baby back, baby back, baby back. Baby.
Look,
Can I get a
I
barbecue
totally
sauce for someone? Where's
I
Richie
totally
at?
took that bet, knowing like, okay, if the Ravens do run the ball, they're gonna win that game. but if they go like they historically have, I mean, it's not like Lamar had a amazing passing night. Like that run game was just dominant. Like there's no you can't give up 300 yards rushing and win a game. Like that's just not happening. Who are you taking? Bills or Ravens? Tesla,
I'm gonna
go.
take. I got Bills. I think Bills are better. I think this is their year to get past them. Plus, they got home field advantage. I think everyone's on Lamar and the Ravens, so give me Bills.
Ooh,
Should
John.
be a heck of a game. I'm really excited for that game, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. It should be a heck of a game.
It should be the game of the week. I'll take the visiting team, and they're -1. I'll take that.
Ooh. Okay. Drew?
So I'm taking the Ravens because I already picked them before. But I think I don't know. I actually watched big portions of their wild card games, and I just felt like the Ravens were more dominant in their victory. I know it sounds crazy, but I don't know.
I mean,
Just
it is
trust me, guys.
crazy.
Just
How do you
trust
say
me.
that they were more dominant when one team gave up a touchdown the first drive and no other points the rest of the game, outscored them 34-0 versus a better
Well,
squad? I mean,
They only scored 31, so let's start there. But you think the Broncos are a better squad than the Steelers?
absolutely, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone on this podcast agrees.
I
Not
take the
everyone.
Broncos
Hey.
over too.
Just so you know, I did say Bo Nix was going to be a great quarterback. I'm just throwing it out there.
And he still
Apparently,
might. I mean,
there were-
I that throw. Sean Payton had a good game plan. I mean, you just don't
He had
have
a
the
big
horse.
arm.
So what I was surprised about in that game is they go down. Bills go down 7-0. I fully expect Josh Allen to just throw. Typical Josh Allen. Throw a couple to the other team. And the very first play, 20-yard pass. And I was like, okay, oh great, here it comes. And then it was hand the ball off to James Cook. Hand the ball off to James Cook. Ty Johnson comes in. Hand the ball off to Ty Johnson. I was like, wow, they're actually doing what they should be doing. Run Josh Allen a couple times. And if they stick to that game plan, I mean, they're going to be tough to beat. They're really going to be tough to beat. Josh Allen can make every throw in the entire game. But should he? Right? And
but you got to run the ball.
That's, and you don't think, I don't know that he should be making every throw. So, yeah, I have to say, I think Buffalo wins this game if they stick to that game plan.
You should change the name of this podcast to "Run the Ball."
Run the ball.
podcast.
Run the
Dang
ball.
it.
Run the ball. You got to. You got to be able to run the ball. And if the Ravens don't run the ball, quote me on this. If they don't run the ball, they're losing that game, hands down. Okay. I want to know what your over under is for the Ravens rush attempts. Over or under 50 attempts or 45. I'll give you 45. Over or under 45.
Hold on.
Let me do some calculations.
I know you're thinking about it. I know you're thinking about it.
So last game, so just for your numbers, last game, Henry ran for 26 carries. Lamar had 15 carries last game. So that's 40 or whatever, 41. Plus some other guys ran the ball too. So they were around 45-ish last game. I'm gonna say
I'll even tone it down. 40.
Under.
We'll get
40?
40,
I'll say
40
over.
attempts.
I'll say over.
Over 40 attempts?
I'll take the over on 40. I was going to take the
Over on
under
40?
on 40. Yeah, I'll take the over on 40.
What about you, Mike? 40 attempts.
I'm gonna go under on both. I think the way the Bills played that last game, they really had possessions that lasted like 6-7 minutes. It was just not the same Bills team that I'm used to seeing. I think this is a slow, grinded out game. I don't see many long drives. Both defenses are playing pretty well. So I'm gonna go under that.
Ooh, under 40 attempts. With it being both you and Drew went over, right, John? Over 40?
Yeah.
Okay. I would agree with you. If they go over 40 attempts, I think they win that game. If they stay under, I think they lose to the Bills. Yeah, for sure. We got Lions versus the Commanders. Anybody? No Commanders? No Commander fans? I know Drew's just biting.
Sure? No.
Chomping on the bit. Come on, Drew. You know you want to take the Commanders over the Lions.
I think he's got Lions winning it all. So
I think he does too. Let's go Eagles Rams. Oscar, shout out to the Eagles. Congrats on that win. And I'm sure you have them advancing to the next round. Eagles Rams.
I have Eagles, but they need to get their offense together. They did not look good in that game. Their defense looked really solid, and I think they're top. I think they're the third top defense in the league. So they did what they needed to do, but I honestly think that they got some serious issues. You still got Saquon, and they did make a concerted effort to get him the ball. But they need to get a little bit more out of their offense if they want to move past this game. Rams are solid right now. I still don't buy their defense being as good as it looked tonight and it has the past couple weeks. But man, they're young. To be honest, as a Niner fan, I'm a little worried about that young defense that they have.
You think you think that the Ram defense is better or worse than Green Bay?
Worse.
Okay.
But not by much though. In a year or two, they won't be. Right?
Correct.
You put a little bit of a stronger safety there. You add another linebacker and you add another lineman, and they're dangerous because I think their cornerback crew is pretty good.
Yeah, and they got good safeties too. They play that double high safety look quite a bit on the top too. So you can't beat them deep. And this is going to come down to Hurts his legs a little bit too, though. I think they need to use him a little bit more in the run game and because I don't know that he necessarily could play action pass, maybe play action rolls, and bootlegs and things like that. But
Drew said he's taking the Lions.
Yeah, and he's got Eagles too, I assume.
I think so. Drew, who do you end up having on that Eagles Rams? Who are you taking, John?
So I want to comment first before I take my pick.
Yeah.
AJ Brown needs to calm down, and AJ Brown needs to play his role. AJ Brown needs to leave Saquon alone when Saquon's in the zone. So whatever was going on when he walked over to Saquon's like, leave me alone. Not right now. He needs to calm down. And they just, I mean, stuff like that is a locker room killer. Stuff like that will mess up your offense. Can't do that in the playoffs. You want to do that in the regular season and mess around, fine. Take a loss or two because you guys can't get it right, but can't be doing that in the playoffs. That being said, I think the Eagles squeak it out. Like it's like a 27-24 type game for me. I'd say the Eagles win, but if they do, it's going to be a tight game, in my opinion.
Eagles. Oscar will be happy with that. And Drew, who are you taking?
Eagles.
Eagles.
Yeah.
As the viral meme, EGLESESS, Eagles. No, that's you guys haven't seen that video. Oh, like, wait, what? What did she just spell?
Everyone was like, "What the heck?"
I'm like, okay. Man, I think out of all the games, this is going to be the closest one. I think like the Bills Ravens game could be. I mean, it could be a shootout, and it could be a very short game if they both are running the ball. So, do I necessarily want to see a shootout between Lamar and Josh Allen? Not really, because I don't think it'd be very exciting. But I think out of all 4 games this week, this Eagles Rams game is going to be the closest. Especially if the Eagles can't figure out their offense. I mean, only putting up 22 against Green Bay. Okay, I mean, I get that, but I mean, there's definitely some miscues I see for sure. Well, let's move on to the coaching world, the NFL coaching world. We had a lot of vacancies, and some of them that have already been filled. We're gonna give Tesla Mace his flowers right now, as he called the Patriots hiring Mike Vrabel as their head coach. Vrabel was quoted as saying that the biggest draw for him was how solid Drake May is, which awesome. Kudos to Mike Vrabel. The Pats kind of reuniting the two. I mean, there was already mutual respect there, right? Speaking of mutual respect, Deion Sanders and the Cowboys apparently have mutual interest. Now, if you're the Cowboys and you do go that route, which I could see Jerry Jones doing, it's a big name hire, right? Somebody who's already played for you. He's shown that he can coach, obviously. But Deion's going to come with some baggage, right? Like he's going to come wanting his sons to play with him, not just to play in the NFL, but to play with him. Now, I could see them doing kind of like an Eli Manning situation type deal that the Mannings ended up pulling. I could see them doing that.
Philip
But-
Rivers, Eli.
Right, but I don't think they'd go as. I mean, where's the Cowboys' first round pick? Anyone
I
know
can
off the
tell
top of your head?
I think it's like 10, if I'm not mistaken. 9 or
12.
10.
I don't think
right after
I don't
Well-
think that he goes that low. I mean, I think they would have to at least trade up to one of the top 5 picks in order to even solidify that.
Listen, if they get him, they will trade up to the top 5 picks, and they'll probably trade Dak to get it. If you're Deion, you're gonna start your son, and Dak's got to go. I mean, you just signed Dak for all this money, and to be honest, if you're one of those bottom teams, you take Dak. I mean, Raiders would in a heartbeat, right? Several.
Yeah, but
of
we're
those
6.
Titans. Well, okay, so who's got the number one pick? New York.
Titans have number 1 pick.
Yep.
I mean, if you
Titans,
got the chances
Browns.
to bring in, Will Levis isn't the guy in Tennessee. Browns.
it's-
I mean, Browns are, I don't know. I wouldn't like it very much, obviously, if I was Dak, but I mean, That's just gotta be. It's gotta be what it is, and I think it's gonna happen. I think the Cowboys were really stupid. You know, they waited 4 days past the date to fire him, so they already got a late start on interviewing people. I don't think Ben Johnson, wants anything to do with the Cowboys personally. Maybe he does. I don't know. But I don't. I think he wants a little bit more, you know, reins of the wheel, if you will, than Jerry Jones will give him. Um, and so I do think that Dion is the right fit for that situation, and I think that it's a solid fit in both directions. And who cares about those 4 days if you're going to get Dion? So I mean, he played there. I mean, why? It's a cool story. I don't know. That's my take on it. Now, will he do well? I don't know. I don't know how good Shador is. But I do think that they have pieces. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Cowboys have some pieces on both sides of the ball.
I think their defense becomes exponentially better, especially their secondary and safety play if Dion goes. I do.
Interesting. I don't know if he goes to the Cowboys though. I think he takes the Raiders job and just goes there.
You can only dream, man. You can
I
only
like
dream.
wishful thinking.
I mean, think about how popular. Like, I think Cowboys fans be really happy about that.
I think
It's
what's
great that
more
they're moving on from McCarthy. I mean, it's
they're 1 year too
it's like
late.
yeah, definitely a year too late. Maybe 2 years too late, man. I don't know.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, what's great about Dion is that he's already proven he can put a decent coaching staff together. Right? He's got a couple of ex-pros who are coaching these college kids, and anytime you can get around, guys who have already done it before, like that's who you want to learn from, right? Like guys you wanted to emulate. Um, so I don't think you're too lost there. I heard rumors that Ben Johnson, who's the offensive coordinator out of the Lions, wants to bring his own GM if he does take a head coaching job. Which is one of the rumors. Is actually one of the rumors why Raiders got rid of Telesco. But I don't know if that's because, hey, we're not going to interview with you unless you have that position open.
Let me ask you a question on that. If you're Ben Johnson, right, you pretty much get to pick the situation you want. Okay. So realistically speaking, not talking to Mike because I know your answer. So Andrew and John, if you're Ben Johnson and you're given two options to choose from, are you going with the Bears gig, who already have pieces, their quarterback in place, or are you going with the Raiders? I mean, realistically, like which is more of a favorable situation for you?
Is that your two options though? Is that your only two options?
Just between those two. I mean, those two, the Bears. Go ahead. I'll let you guys go. Then I'll say my piece.
I think it's not as easy as that for me because I don't know how hard it is to work with Caleb Williams. Like to walk out and say that the punter's not going to punt, and then you stunk up the season. I'd have a nice long talk with that kid before I said anything else. Really, I think that the smart choice would probably be the Bears. But I'd really have to sit long and hard to think, like, can I get either myself or a coach around Caleb Williams to get the mentality that I want to have on my team?
So for me, I mean, Chicago is beautiful in July, but January, not so much, man. So Vegas for sure. I love my family too much to take them to that cold.
You do know he's in Detroit right now, right? You do know he's in Detroit right now.
That's true.
It's not a far move. It's not a far move from Chicago to Detroit to Chicago.
Take that sunny Vegas desert.
And Al Davis maybe going to fire you in a year or two. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, the Bears defense has looked pretty solid. The only negative that I see about that Bears job is the fact that you got the Lions and you have the Vikings and you have the Packers in that division. But that being said, it's not like the Chiefs aren't around and the Chargers aren't around if you're comparing just those two positions. So
Yeah.
if I'm a coach, I really like the situation that the Bears have. Their defense is not that bad. I mean, yeah, they have moments, but there are pieces. They're young. You have a young receiver. You have a DJ Moore who's a great receiver. And you got a good tight end. You got a good running back signed already. In Swift. Yes, Caleb Williams is a confident man, but at the end of the day, like, maybe he could knock him off that pedestal a little bit. So I don't know. I think that Bears job is extremely lucrative and nice, but that's just my thought.
I think the hard part with the Raiders is you don't really have. I mean, they don't have a quarterback. They don't have. There's a lot. You're right.
Right.
There are a lot of pieces they just don't have set up yet. So I think that's the challenge. But maybe you want that. Maybe you want to come in and be able to paint your own painting and not have to use what someone else already built. You could build your own lineup that you want, that you think will work in your offense. But
Very interesting take. Where does McCarthy end up going? Does anybody take a shot on McCarthy?
I think the Bears do. Again, if
Oh.
they don't get one of those guys, I think the Bears will take someone like McCarthy or Kingsbury or someone who's coached in the NFL before. I think that's the route they should take. I did hear that they were interested in Marcus Freeman, which
Would be a fabulous choice.
I thought so initially, and then I talked to a Bears fan earlier, and his response was, we need a coach who's done it before, right? Like, that's not saying Marcus Freeman cannot be a good coach. The Bears, they're tired of hiring these guys, Nagy, Eberflus, that, are maybe the next good thing. Like, he's like, dude, I'd be happy with Pete Carroll, right? A coach that knows what he's doing to come in and say, this is what we need to do. I mean, even if you brought in Kingsbury, he's like, I'd want Salah with them, but as a defensive guy. But the reality is, he's coached in the NFL before. The Bears need a little bit of stability, I guess, in that organization. And so I would go with, if I was a Bears fan or by the Bears team, I would say you'd want a coach that has been in the NFL before.
What do you think, John? One, where does Mike McCarthy end up? And two, what do you think the Bears are going to do?
I thought you gave Tesla Mace the reins. I didn't agree with him, so he kicked me out right now. So, so I think the Lions OC would be the smartest move for the Bears, but the Bears are the Bears, so it wouldn't surprise me if they took McCarthy. The fact that they were talking about interviewing McCarthy before he got released from the Cowboys was a red flag to me, but I don't know. They see something in McCarthy that I don't, and that's okay because I'm not a Bears fan. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the Cowboys were well put together for McCarthy. I don't feel like he did a great job, in my opinion. I feel like, if anything, he hurt that team. And in my opinion, I don't think he should be coaching. I'm sure there are 32 other coaches that are probably better than him. I'm sure he's a great guy, but I just don't think McCarthy should be coaching. So I would assume, in my opinion, that no team should probably pick up McCarthy. But that being said, the Bears might. So we'll see what happens.
I'm gonna have to cheer because as of today, the Raiders have reportedly requested interviews for Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions, Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator for the Lions, Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for Kansas City, Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator for the Ravens, Robert Saleh, who's the former head coach for the Jets, Pete Carroll, the former head coach for the Seahawks, and Vance Joseph, who's the current Denver Bronco defensive coordinator. No Mike McCarthy on that list. Let's keep it that way, Raiders. Let's keep it that way. Make sure you send
Carroll's
this.
Kind of old though.
This clip. Send this exact clip.
Really
it don't
old.
matter.
73.
It don't matter. Have you seen him though?
I mean, I get this. I guess that's true, but I don't know, man.
No, like if so, I
Right
got
off
a
into the sunset, dude. You did well. Good job. Like I don't know.
I got a chance a
You
couple
guys coming back
times
at 73?
to be at some of those Seahawks practices, and I mean he's running with the rest of them.
Yeah.
Like running, throwing. Like I'm like, dude, if I could be that mobile and just have that much energy when I'm in my 70s, I'd be fabulous. Thank you for keeping me mobile and not just sitting down
That's
on my
cool.
duff. But yeah, I mean, the guy's got, I mean, outside of all the energy that he does bring to the table, like he just brings a ton of experience from his years at USC to his years with the Seahawks.
He's won at all levels, so
It's just, you know, he'll have people behind him to do the grunt work. He's got all the motivation for sure. Let's see. Yeah. Any other head coaching positions that you would take? I know, Mike, you said you'd be interested in taking the Bears
Yeah.
head coaching position.
I'll move from LA to Chicago to take that job.
Any other openings that you would be interested in, John?
I mean, I don't know. I guess if I had to choose, I probably would choose the Raiders just because it's in Vegas, like Drew said. I probably wouldn't mind it. It'd be interesting since I've been a Niner fan my whole life. To coach the Raiders, I think it'd be cool. I do think that the Raiders have some really good pieces, and I think that they got a little bit of ways to go, but I think they just need the right leader in there, right? And I think they need somebody with experience. I think my big thing, and I hope that any of their top leadership is listening, give the coach more than 2 years to allow them to build a team and give the team a chance. But that stadium looks really cool from the outside. I'd love to be able to say that I could be inside that and do my thing. That'd be fun.
So just for those that are listening at the moment, as of today, there are six openings for head coach. You got the Cowboys, Bears, Jets, Jaguars, Saints, and the Raiders. Drew, out of those, who would you take? Lakers don't count. They already got their head coach.
So you got Cowboys, Saints,
the Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
we know he wants.
I almost laughed when I saw
got
that.
the long hair.
That's messed up. They fired the wrong guy. Why are they firing the coach for? Honestly, I think I would. I'd stick with the Raiders, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to try to make them win. I think that would be. I like a challenge, And also, there's just
if you like a challenge, man, you should have went with the Jets.
I was about to say the Jets.
Dude, that's a different kind of challenge, though. That's like how do I get Aaron Rodgers to retire immediately?
I mean,
no,
you guys are crazy.
I think the Raiders,
to go in
you get a lot of.
division.
I think you got to create your own team. That's what's exciting about the Raiders. So you got to create your own team. You got to pick the pieces. You got to pick your own destiny a little bit. So I like that.
You're right, Mike. It's easier to stay in the Lions division. That makes more sense.
Better than the Chiefs, man. I mean, no one in the Lions division's won a Super Bowl in the last 15 years.
That's fair, but Sam Darnold, at least he'll get past the regular season. He might be a Dak Prescott and not get past the first round of the playoffs.
I don't know, man. The Raiders is you're not going to be there long enough to enjoy both the Chargers and Mahomes' success. I mean, we're not talking about Mahomes being in his 30s, right? Like the guy's still a young kid. I unless Andy Reid up and something happens to him, I mean, it's just the beginning of unfortunately what could be an era. I mean, I don't know.
I'm
Yeah.
willing to bet I won't win more than 2 games, and I'm willing to bet regardless I wouldn't be there long anyways. I'd love to be a coordinator. I don't think I'm a head coach for real.
Here's you guys remember those throwback Steelers jerseys, those yellow and black striped ones?
The Bumblebees.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Raiders head coaching job, and I'm gonna lobby for the Raiders to have the silver and black stripe just to confuse the Chiefs and think that we're refs. Oh well, no, we're part of your team. Don't worry about it. Here's my thing. If I'm going for money, I'm taking the Raiders. Whatever, you get rid of me in a year. That's fine. Whatever. Pay me $10 million and get rid of me next year. Here's a couple things I will guarantee. Number one, I will lose when I'm supposed to lose. Our season is already crapped out. You got 2 wins. Okay, last couple games. Why are we winning? Like I'm like, okay, we're putting Max. I know you got your streak going. Who they put in for that QB starting QB streak? Oh yeah, they started him for one play and then sat him on the bench and said, ride it out. We'll call you if we need you. No, in all fairness, like regardless of the pieces that you have or don't have, that shouldn't dictate how you coach. Right? One of my favorite things about Mike Tomlin is that he doesn't care who he has. He's not going to back away from coaching a guy. Like one of the frustrating things, especially in the coaching world, is like, oh, you get a guy that's kind of full of himself or whatever, doesn't want to do this, doesn't want to do that, is a distraction, and and you're like, like I'm done with this guy. Like Mike Tomlin isn't that way. He'll actually step up and say, okay, like I need to step up my game now in order to get him on board, because that's my job as a coach. Which, it isn't, I mean, that's not common in the coaching world. Unfortunately, you'll see guys that will kind of put them aside and put a kid to the side and say, well, I'm just done dealing with you. Until you conform, I'm just done dealing with you. I mean, every coach has different styles of coaching, and I'm not saying like one's right and one's wrong, but it affects the way your players play. I mean, just think about Tua under Brian Flores and then under McDaniels, like completely different quarterback.
Yep.
Right. And so, as much as I would agree that, yeah, I would love to have some pieces, like a consistent quarterback would be great. Even if you were consistently bad, okay, cool. At least you're consistent. Like at least I know. Don't show me like okay. Don't be a Jameis Winston. I'm gonna throw 5 touchdowns, and then next game I'm like, where are you at? 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, and then they're like completely gone. Nowhere to be found. I don't know. It's. I don't find the Bears situation all that good, to be honest with you. And it's not because, like, individually, yes, they do have pieces. They have people who have played well in their one position on separate teams. And all they did was say, okay, well, you did good, so I'm going to pick you and I'm going to put you into this system. Even though none of you guys have run this system at all. And we don't quite know what that system is yet because we don't even have our head coach. But we're gonna hope that, since you're a deep threat, that you'll constantly be a deep threat. I just don't think their pieces mesh, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Are you saying that because DJ Moore threw a temper tantrum like more than twice in
So
the
I,
season?
I agree with that, and you get rid of DJ Moore, that's fine. I just think you already have a young QB and a young receiver that are studs, and that
Sure.
puts you ahead of everywhere else, right? I mean, and they're not in 8 systems, and they're not unhappy, and you still have pieces, you still have draft picks, you still have you have a lot of opportunity. I mean, they still, I think if I'm not mistaken, they still have a top 10 pick this year. So you got 2 guys, you got young guys on defense, and I think they've done a good job. Even when they traded Roquan Smith a few years ago, they got some pieces, they got some good draft picks available. So if I had to start as a new coach, I would want a second year quarterback, a second year receiver that have potential, and that's what they have. So you're 2-3 years ahead of the Raiders. You're 2-3 years ahead of the Jets of starting brand new. And in today's NFL, you have 2 coaches this year getting fired after year 1. So, am I going to go into a situation where I have a little bit more opportunity to win? I think that opportunity is with the Bears. From a team perspective, not regardless of division and all those other things. I think I personally am taking those 2 players.
So Mike, I got a different take for you. If you were to swap owners, let's say, let's say Caleb Williams and all his pieces are with the Raiders, but you had to deal with Mark Davis, and the Bears were with all the Raider players they have now, would you still pick Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I would go with the Raiders because you got, Max Crosby on the defensive side. So you do have your good defensive player who's fairly young that you can continue to build around, and then your good offensive player. Mark Davis is, you win, he's gonna get off your back. I mean, he'll claim it all. It's all him. But I would take. I think I would take that if you flip the situations around with just one player. I mean, you got Brock Bowers, right? So that's your Romeo Duze on the Bears, right? You got a stud tight end, and you got a stud. You got a quarterback that's already been drafted, and you have Max Crosby on the defensive side. Yeah, I think I'd take the Raiders gig. So to me, it's just the quarterback. I guess that's ultimately what this thing comes down to. Is it's just we've seen team after team just strike out on this quarterback thing, and
Fair enough.
I don't know what it is, but you get Bryce Young, and you get and then we're like, oh well, CJ Stroud's the guy, and then we see year 2 and we're like, well, is he, right? And then I mean, even Jaden Daniels,
up,
we're
man.
like,
What?
I mean, you can't pick them in the second round, so I don't know what you're gonna come and talk about again. So,
I mean, they're playing the Chiefs, so
the
come
team
on.
that you
I mean,
said wasn't even that good all year. They keep getting lucky every game.
They're playing
Teslamans
good
does have
teams.
a good point.
I'm just saying,
What's-
it's you look at the last
I think a lot of
5-6
quarterbacks.
drafts.
I think a lot of quarterbacks just in their second year, have a little bit of a. It's not like a slump, but just teams are ready for them. They have more tape, they have more film. It's a normal thing, and then they have to respond. And if they can respond in year 3, then you know that they're going to make it as a quarterback because they figured it out. I think that's the true test. 3 years, you get to see them. They do great. Then people get tape on them. Then they struggle a little bit more, and they're able to overcome that. That's when we see a lot of great quarterbacks, in my opinion. So he's not out yet. We'll see what happens.
Okay,
think
but
for
my point
CJ
is yeah. Go ahead, John.
Well, I think for CJ Stroud, if he had 3 receivers that could stay healthy throughout the year, he might have a chance. But if we're talking about Caleb Williams, he was like the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, right? So you got to have an offensive line that can hold for, at least 2 to 3 seconds. You have to, right? And that gives him a chance. I think my comment about DJ Moore, which I struggled with, is DJ Moore's giving him crap about, you can't throw the ball. He looked at Tyson Badgett and said, like, I wish you were in. Well, you know what's crazy, DJ Moore? When your quarterback's getting blitzed, why don't you bail out of your route and try to help out your quarterback, right? If you bailed out of half of your routes, and I said half because he's the most blitz quarterback, or he was the most pressured quarterback and most sacked quarterback in the NFL this year. I believe so. If not, he's top 2. But regardless, bail your quarterback out because you're a leader. That's what you should do, right? Pick your quarterback up off the ground once in a while. He's getting stepped all the time. He's already feeling like he's failing. Pick the quarterback up and build some confidence. And that's why I struggle with that specific scenario.
Yeah, I would agree.
By the way,
with
you were right. It was Caleb Williams, most sacks, 68,
Yeah.
and then C.J. Stroud was second.
I don't know. I guess I just look at it that, Caleb Williams, there's so many teams that have been striking out as of late in the quarterback position. I mean, you got guys like Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield making comebacks, and you're like, wait, what? Like, these are Pro Bowl caliber players? Because you just and like Andrew wants to point out with Trevor Lawrence, right? Some would call him a bust, right? Andrew does every single 5 minutes he gets to talk. But realistically, it's just so hard. It is so. Even Lamar Jackson, he wasn't. What was he drafted? I was trying to look that up right now. Do you know? He was in the 20s, right?
Yeah,
I thought he was.
yeah,
6.
he was
Was
pretty
it?
far down there.
I thought he was 16. Let me see.
Was he 16? I mean, again, my point is, you look at your good quarterbacks. Realistically speaking, Josh Allen is probably one of the only ones that was your top 3 pick in the draft who's actually like, man, that guy's really good. Jalen Hurts, wasn't he a 2nd-round draft pick? Brock Purdy, right? Kyler Murray, yes, he was a number 1 draft pick, but he's not that guy.
He was the final pick in the first round. Sorry.
Yeah,
Final pick, so number 32. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, realistically speaking, it seems like a lot of these teams are getting a little bit lucky in getting that guy not that high, and so that might be the issue, is the college level isn't developing these quarterbacks, to a certain extent, and I think that personally is just going to get worse as you have this transfer portal, because good quarterbacks are just going to choose the good team that's going to pay them, right? And so I don't know. I guess I just look at it like, I'm gonna take the guy that I saw enough from Caleb Williams to give me hope if I'm a coach. I'm like, look, I think I could work with this kid, and I think that I can make him a better quarterback. Yes, there's offensive line issues, but realistically, he didn't have very many interceptions for a quarterback. I sent you guys that link that his numbers and Jaden Daniels' numbers were very, very close within the last couple with up till like week 14 of the season. So, and yet everyone's saying Jaden Daniels is the next great thing. I'm just saying, if I'm a QB and I could draft it, or if I'm a coach and I'm drafting QB this year, I don't see anyone that I'm like, man, I got to go out and get that guy. So why not take Caleb Williams, who has proven himself in the college level and has, and he had a pretty decent first season with all things considered. So that's my take.
Only 6 interceptions, so that's pretty impressive. Only 20 touchdowns too, but still, that's pretty impressive.
That's a good ratio for a rookie quarterback on a 4-12 team.
3,500 yards too.
Yes.
I mean,
You're
he
right.
protected the ball, and I think a lot of that's coaching, right? You need a better offensive coordinator in there. He needs some better schemes, right? There's a lot to do with that. But I mean, the fact that he didn't turn the ball over as a rookie, Bryce Young had more interceptions in like 3 games than he did all year, right? And it's pretty impressive. I don't know. That's just my thought.
So Lamar Jackson drafted number 32 in the 2018 draft. Here's where the plot thickens. Drafted number 1 in that same year, Baker Mayfield. Number 3, Sam Darnold. Number 7, Josh Allen. You think he's got something to prove in this next week? Here it goes.
I think he's past that with 2 MVPs.
And you know what's crazy?
The
The Ravens traded up for that pick too.
Oh yeah. And then at number 10, there is one other quarterback that got drafted before him. Any guesses? He played for the Cardinals. Any guesses?
Not Case Keenum, was it?
Rosen, right?
Yep,
Oh,
Josh Rosen.
Wow.
Where is he now?
Who told, you know what he said? He said when he got drafted, I'm going to make all these other teams pay for passing me up. Yep. Where are you at there, big guy?
Where are you at now? Wild. Absolutely wild. Let's wrap this up. So the college football playoff just finished off their semifinals. Ohio State got the win 28-14 over Texas, and Notre Dame gets the win 27-24 over Penn State, which brings up the national championship of Notre Dame versus Ohio State. Notre Dame being the home team. So I want to know who you guys are taking. And is it going to be close or not? Drew, who are you taking?
I'm taking Ohio State.
I was going to say, or do you want to hear Mike first?
I originally picked
He's heard my opinion.
the winner. I picked Oregon, or whoever's when the winner of the Oregon-Ohio State game. I knew I felt like that was a stronger matchup either way, and so I'm going to Ohio State. I actually don't think it's going to be that close. I think Ohio State's going to kill him.
Jack Espy, he said he's got Ohio State as well. Too many injuries for Notre Dame. John, who do you got?
And I think Jack took my answer. I got Ohio State because Notre Dame has a lot of injuries. I don't think it'll be close either. I think it'll be at least a 10-point spread or better or worse.
Mike?
The Ohio State.
They're
gonna win.
Ohio State.
They're gonna win. They're the better team on both ends of the ball. Starting tackle is out for Notre Dame. That's a big hurt against that defensive lineman. And Ryan Day has Ohio State playing really well after that Michigan defeat. He was on the hot seat and potentially almost a foot out the door. Now all of a sudden he's on the verge of winning a national championship. So I think they're better on both sides of the ball. And but Notre Dame can make it ugly. And if they do, it could get interesting because I look at this Notre Dame team and I actually think they're very similar to Michigan in that way. If you get them, if they run the ball, just play this defensive game, they got a shot. But realistically, yeah, they're banged up, and I like Ohio State. So yeah, go Buckeyes.
Hey, I am also taking Ohio State, but I've got my own reason. Shout out to all the Seattle boys that are playing up at Ohio State, Emeka, G. Scott Jr., and JT. JT is the defensive lineman. You remember, what was it? I think it was last year. It was either last year or the year before. He's the defensive lineman that ended up getting. Yeah, that guy. Wildest game highlight you'll ever see for a defensive lineman, for sure. Anyway, shout out to Ohio State. Hope you guys make it. But I also got to give a shout out to Notre Dame. I know Manti. Sorry, cousin. I apologize right now. Manti is going to be rooting for Notre Dame. He's going to have it all over his stories as he does every year. He was able to make it back home to Hola, though. So good for you, Manti. Love it. For those still watching, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube at Jam Pack Podcast. Click on that notification button to view us live. We're live every Monday night, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Let's see here.
Hey, maybe next Monday night we should take them with us, Drew, to I was gonna say to soccer, and we could watch that Ohio State game together. But there won't be soccer next Monday, so maybe we get together and watch that championship game together. That'd be kind of cool.
Gracias.
So it's a holiday, so I'm in. Let me know.
Grazies, nice.
Yes, let's go.
I did have one last thing to say.
The Lakers lost. I know. Yeah, show over.
And the Clippers won.
You put NBA on the schedule. All right.
I did put NBA on the schedule. But y'all took so long.
So mad.
You can't let me not say something. All right. So
Wimby just beat you guys. I know, that was great.
I actually didn't know that because I didn't check the score yet. But thanks for ruining it for me.
It was a solid fourth quarter by your boy Connect. Got like 3 points in the whole game. So.
Oh man. Okay. So I was just gonna say that I wanted to bring up Cade Cunningham. And I just wanted to say,
I'm buying you a Cade Cunningham jersey, bro. Just
all I'm saying right now is that I was
Hey!
wrong. That I think he's going to be an all-star, man.
What? No,
Hey!
no.
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, you gotta wait till the show's like in the first minute, not cut off on some channels right now because we're over an hour.
Last
Let's
10 minutes.
I
Last
gotta
10
hear that
games.
every
So here's the
week.
thing.
That I'm just gonna double down on this at the beginning of every episode for 52 weeks. I'm sitting there
Let's
looking at you
go.
because I thought you're gonna take it back. No, and I think
Let's
we actually bet
go.
that you would buy me some dinner or something if he was a all-star.
So
We gotta
here's
go
the
back.
thing. I don't think it's
Oh,
going to be this season, but I think he's on the path for next season. He's going to do it. So, he's averaging 25s, like 7 and
Yeah, he
9
is.
for the season, and the last 10 games. More importantly, the last 10 games, they're 8-2, and they beat the Suns, they beat the Lakers, they beat the Kings, they beat the Timberwolves. They didn't beat like crappy teams. They actually beat some decent teams.
Just beat the
Some
Knicks
crappy
tonight.
teams as well, and they beat the Knicks. They beat the Knicks twice in the past, like few couple weeks here. So that's kind of the sign. Like if he got some decent players on his team, he's starting to be more consistent, and they're winning games. Like he's on his way. So good job, Cade. That's all I got to say.
take a
You
deep
broke him,
breath, bro.
Cade.
staying up for
You
it.
get him?
Broke him.
So I was right about the
That-
NFL, but I've been wrong. I was wrong about Cade, guys. I think he'll get it next year. So
That was totally
So what I
worth
hear
the
you
extra
saying is
couple
you know
minutes.
more about the NFL than the NBA. Got it.
Ooh.
I love it. For those that still tuned in, make sure you tune in next week as we bring in more jam-packed sports. What's up? Until then, be safe out there. Take care of one another, and we'll see you guys next week. Later,
See you
fellas.
later, fellas.
Bye, guys.